Hey everybody, welcome back to Tech Odyssey. So today I went down to my local Best Buy and I was happy to see that they finally had one of the Microsoft Surface Duo demo models up and available. So I wanted to take some footage, get some hands-on time because I'm really interested in this phone just like a lot of other people are, and especially because it's like $1,400. It's really nice to be able to go see something like this before you go ahead and make the investment. So I want to go ahead and dive in, look at some of this stuff, talk about some of the features, and give it a look over and talk about some of the stuff. I did some software experience stuff, some swiping around, looking at some different things, testing out the keyboard, and generally just, playing around with the store like anybody else would. But before we get into all that, I do want to say if this is your first time stopping by the channel, I appreciate you being here. If you enjoy the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. Now let's take a look at this Surface Duo. Alright, so here we are with the Microsoft Surface Duo demo model that I was able to take a look at and get my hands on for a little bit while I was at Best Buy. And the first thing you can see here is it very much does look like a Surface product. And of course that's what they're going for because it's supposed to be essentially like a pocketable miniaturized version. And as many people have mentioned this, of course, it is a phone. I think first it's a productivity and total communications device. So there's a big emphasis here on enterprise, on productivity, on, of course, the Microsoft Suite, on Microsoft Teams, and then, yes, you're going to be able to use it for a phone. That's a given because, of course, it's a communications device. And then kind of the secondary thing, of course, is things like, the one camera, which tells you that this isn't so much a social media device, but you can do everything else on here that you normally would with any other phone. So taking a look in the menu here, pretty standard stuff. It's easy to swipe away the notifications, just as you would any other Android device. Swipe them to the left, hit the clear all button, and I just took a look in here for a second, but nothing too groundbreaking. It's nice that you can use the software independently on both sides of the screens. So you can see there I had the options on the left side and then pull the menu up on the right side, and now it's very easy if you're using the left side or the right side, you just swipe on the opposite screen and it will pull up the menu over there. And I really like the way that they have this whole flow set up because you can do a lot of real multitasking. It's not like fake or artificial or here we'll jam this stuff together in a couple different windows. These are like two fully functioning displays. The browser does seem to be nice and quick. It's responsive as I would expect it to be with the Snapdragon 855. And I've never used this before. I just kind of figured this stuff out on my own. You can swipe it back and forth to move it from one side to the other and then hover it over the middle to get the split screen. And it looks perfectly fine. I don't have any issues with it, but I don't really think that I'll be using it in that configuration because it does seem kind of stretched unnaturally across the screens. As small as this gap is with the hinge in the middle, it still disrupts things. So you can see here with both apps, I've got the calendar open on one side, LinkedIn open on the other side, and I didn't know this, but you can stack them on top of each other. Apparently the limit is 3 though. So you can stack one on top of each other, pull the other one off, drag it back to the other side, but if you stack a third one, apparently it closes that. And I don't know if that's going to be a setting that you can adjust in the final production model or any of that stuff, but just testing it out and looking at that, I thought that was kind of interesting. So here we are with the keyboard. I wanted to go ahead and look at this because, of course, as a communications device, one of the most important things is going to be your keyboard, so you need to make sure that it's done right. The keyboard layout, of course, looks just like a regular QWERTY keyboard, and you can move it back and forth from the left side to the right side no problem by hitting that little arrow. It doesn't seem to stretch across both displays that way, so I don't really have any heartburn over that, but I thought maybe they might kind of like have a split keyboard model. And also I'm trying to flip this one-handed and record it at the same time, so were it not tethered to that cable and everything, it would work out a little bit better. For one-handed typing, surprisingly, it's not that bad like this. Of course, most people aren't going to use it that way, I wouldn't imagine. I've seen the video clips where you're supposed to use it like a regular keyboard. I couldn't test that out because I had to hold my camera in the other hand, but not overly disappointed with this. And we'll talk about the keyboard more here in a minute, but it is nice that you can kind of flip it and turn it around so you can get this vertical, more laptop style mode than like the handheld like book kind of mode that it's normally in. But it does seem pretty quick and responsive whenever you flip it back around. I'm sure that it would work out better if it weren't tethered to this cord and I weren't trying to do all this one-handed. I'm really looking forward to getting some more hands-on time with it whenever I finally get mine. Hopefully it gets here on launch day. I believe the 10th is when I'm supposed to get it, but I just had to go out and look at it in person today. And as far as taking a look at it, I do like what it brings to the table. I can understand some of the reasons why maybe they didn't let them show this off, other reviewers prior to the full release, because it doesn't seem to be like 100% ready. Here's the camera. I haven't seen a whole lot of this on video footage, so I want to take a look at that. Yeah, I set the little timer on there for 5 seconds, so I could at least try and take a picture. It's kind of hard to take pictures and use the camera and hold the phone and everything all at the same time. But the interface seems fine. The only thing that throws me off, of course, is that the camera's only on one side. So I was like holding the phone up. I'm like, why is there no camera on the back? Why can't I take a picture? And then I remembered, oh yeah, there's only the one camera. So I had to flip it back around. The biggest disappointment for me, and I'll talk about it here in a minute, typing on here, the haptic feedback really is not all that great. Like, it's okay. Like, if I had a $300 Android phone, I'd be like, all right, the haptic feedback is all right. For a $1,400 phone, the haptic feedback to me is not all right. I don't know if that's something they can tweak with the settings as they get more software stuff out, but at face value, I didn't really care for it. It's very thin, easy to hold. I do like using it in this mode as well because you get the primary screen, and then if you flip it around, you're supposed to double tap on the opposite screen, and it's supposed to pop the app up over there as well. So you can flip it around that way. This, of course, the biggest concerns I have are setting it down and scratching it, but it is really thin and it seems to be built well. And overall, I do kind of like the design. All right, biggest takeaways from the Surface Duo for me. It seems like it's built pretty well. The hinge is nice. I mean, it has a lot of tension, so it's not something that just flops around in the wind. You need to purposely move it to open it and close it. The software seems okay. It did take me kind of a second or two with getting it open whenever I just figure out how to do everything. It is Android based, so it's all swipe gestures, which is nice. The two screens are nice. It's nice that they're identical size, open, even proportions. You flip it open, you can swipe things over from one side to the other. It's kind of like an overlay or a tile setup. As you can see, I did with the apps there. You can put one on top of the other one on top of the other one. So I do like some of that stuff. And then also, I didn't get to mess with the camera too much. The camera interface seems like it's okay, but it was a little weird because I was holding it and I had it open with both of the screens facing me, and I'm like, how do I take pictures behind this thing? I'm like, oh yeah, I got to flip the whole thing around so you can get the camera behind you. And then I was like, all right, let me swipe up the camera face so I can flip it back around for a selfie. I'm like, oh yeah, I got to move the whole thing back around again. So there is some muscle memory that's going to have to be developed with this because it's not like your standard phone. It's not like with what I have right here with my Samsung Galaxy Fold, where there's a camera here. Let me take a selfie. Oh, look, there's a camera on the back. There's cameras all over the place. Surface Duo, one camera, it's on the inside. So you have to fold it around so you can get access to that on the back. The biggest disappointment for me is the haptic feedback. It's not very good. It was almost a little distracting from the overall experience because I was using it and I was trying to type on it, and it just felt kind of like $200 plastic Android motor, like haptic vibration motor. It was not impressive. Like, I used the Pixel 4a recently. I've used the Pixel 4a recently. Great haptic feedback. The Note 20 Ultra, what I'm recording with right now, great haptic feedback. So many different phones that have it right now. And of course, Microsoft hasn't really made a phone in a while. So maybe that's something that they overlooked. Maybe the vibration motor might get a little bit better with the software tweak whenever the final update software comes out, but I was not impressed with it. And it's one of those ones where whenever you type on an Android phone and you kind of type faster than the haptic feedback works, so it kind of throws you off while you're hitting letters. So I didn't like that. As far as the form factor itself, I would say it feels premium enough. It doesn't feel cheap, but it definitely doesn't feel expensive. Like, you pick up the Note, you pick up the Fold, you pick up some other $1,400 and up phones, and they do feel more premium. This is very, very light, as we saw in the video. The construction on it, it's super thin, very easy to open and close it. I mean, it's convenient. I'm not saying it's like super easy as far as the hinge, because I mean, I'm sure it'll break in some over time, but overall, do I think that it feels like $1,400? I'm not sure. It is new, and that's the thing. If it had been around for a while, if this was not their first device, if there were a little bit more to go off of, I mean, I only got to spend about 10, 15 minutes with this in the store. It has solitaire built in. So there you go. I was intrigued by that because, of course, it's a Microsoft product. But yes, it has solitaire. So if you want to pay $15 for solitaire, you can relive the glory days of the mid-90s when you had the Windows 95 PCs with solitaire on them. But yeah, it's supposed to be a productivity device. Very evident just from getting your hands on it as opposed to a normal consumer device. And you can tell that just from the camera. I mean, just from the way it's straight business. It does have a different look on it than most Android overlays, but I'm not going to say it's a bad thing. I don't really want to criticize it too heavily. I'm waiting for mine to show up. I'm going to get one. I ordered it. I'm hoping it's going to be here on the 10th like it says it's supposed to be. So when it gets here, I'm going to do my unboxing. I'm going to dive into it. I'm going to use it a lot because I'm really, really excited about this device and what it has to offer. I'm hoping that there are some software improvements that are available day one when this phone comes out, which may be why they haven't been able to show them off with the other reviewers when they first got them from unboxings. But overall, it's an interesting device. I'm not going to say it's a dumpster fire because I don't have, of course, one here to use. I just got to play with it at the store, and it seems okay. And of course, it was tethered to that stupid cord that they have. I mean, I get it. They don't want people to walk off with it. But the reps had just set it up today, so I was one of the first people that got a chance to use it. I do have concerns, of course, about security, physical security. I mean, it comes with the bumper, but other than the bumper, I mean, I don't know what there's going to be as far as aftermarket accessories, screen protectors, things like that, and then how they're going to work with the hinge. You're probably only going to have a film-style screen protector as an option, but I'm very interested in it. I'm glad I got my hands on it. This was some good first insight when it comes to the device itself, and hopefully this has given you a little bit of a feel for what it brings to the table, and in case you're interested in looking at one. But yeah, if you want to see one, some of the Best Buys and AT&T stores do have them now. I know some had them as early as last week. Mine just got it set up today. So, if you've been looking, maybe go check again now that Labor Day weekend is around, because they probably want to spark some interest in these before they go. I mean, before they hit the streets, because it's supposed to be available on the 10th. So that's all I've got on this video. If you have any questions or comments about the Microsoft Surface Duo, I'll try and answer them to the best of my ability based off of the limited time I got to use it today. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.